All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to talk about one of the absolute cornerstones of Vedic astrology. I'm talking about the Brihad Parashar Hora Shastra. It's this incredible ancient blueprint, a kind of manual, really, for understanding the cosmos and our place in it all.
So the way this whole text is set up is really cool. It's actually a conversation. You've got this student, Maitreya, and he goes to his master, the great sage Parashara. And he asks the biggest questions you can possibly imagine. We're not talking about your daily horoscope here. No, he's asking, how was the universe even created? What's our relationship to the planets? And that one question, that's what kicks off this absolutely profound journey into the nature of destiny.
So, to really wrap our heads around this cosmic blueprint, we're going to break it down into 5 key parts. First, we'll look at the big idea, this ancient cosmic blueprint. Then we'll meet the 9 planetary players. After that, we'll check out the 12 houses of life, kind of like the stage they perform on. Then we get to the really juicy part, the script of your life. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together as a language of destiny.
Okay, so what's the core idea here? It's really powerful. The text says that our lives aren't just happening in a vacuum, separate from what's going on in the heavens. Nope. It's more like we're all actors in a grand cosmic play. And the positions of the planets at the moment you were born, that's your script. That's the blueprint for your unique story.
So if we're in a cosmic drama, who are the main actors? Well, the text introduces us to the 9 grahas, or planets. But you gotta understand, these aren't just giant balls of rock and gas floating in space. There's so much more than that.
The word graha itself is really telling. It literally means that which seizes or grasps. The idea is that these planets have a hold on us. They're not just passive objects. They are seen as living, divine forces. Think of them as agents with their own personalities, their own motivations, and, well, their own specific jobs to do.
And to make this all easier to understand, the text gives us this brilliant metaphor, a planetary cabinet, like a royal court. So you've got the sun as the king, that's your soul, your authority. The moon is the queen, in charge of your mind and emotions. Mars, he's the fiery army chief, all about action and aggression. Then there's Mercury, the clever prince, ruling over communication. Jupiter and Venus are the wise ministers, bringing wisdom and pleasure. And then there's Saturn, the servant, who teaches us discipline through good old-fashioned hard work.
Now, just like in any good story, you need some good guys and some characters that stir up trouble. The text sorts the grahas into 2 main camps. You've got the benefics, like Jupiter and Venus. They tend to bring the good stuff, expansion, positivity. And then you have the malefics, like Saturn and Mars. They bring the challenges, the restrictions, the struggles. But here's the key. They're not evil. They just provide the friction we need to actually grow.
All right, so we've met our actors, but every play needs a stage, right? And that's where the 12 bhavas, or houses, come in. These houses basically represent every single area of your life you can possibly think of. So I want you to picture the sky at the moment you were born as this giant circular stage. Now divide that stage into 12 different sections. Each one of those sections, or bhavas, is a different scene in your life's play. And wherever a planet happens to be sitting, well, that tells you which part of your life its energy is going to light up. And this system gets incredibly specific. For instance, the first house, that's all about you, your physical body, your personality. The 4th house is your inner world, your mom, your home, your sense of happiness. The 10th house, that's your public life, your career, your reputation. So you can see how this works, right? If you have the king planet, the sun, sitting in your 10th house of career, that could very well point to a life of leadership or public recognition. See how the actor and the scene come together? Okay, actors? Check. Stage? Check. So what's the plot? What's the actual story? And just as important, when do things happen? How does this text lay out the timeline of our lives?
Well, the plot points, the big events, the twists and turns, are revealed through something called yogas. Now let's be clear, we are not talking about downward dog here. In astrology, a yoga is a union. It's a special combination of planets that creates a specific storyline or potential. For example, a Raja Yoga might point to power and status, while a Dana Yoga points toward wealth.
So when do these yogas actually kick in? This is where an absolutely amazing timing technique called the dasha system comes into play.
It basically divides your entire life into chapters or planetary periods. For a certain number of years, one specific planet gets the spotlight, and its themes are going to be front and center in your life. Then, that period ends, and the spotlight shifts to a totally different planet, starting a brand new chapter. It's the timeline that brings the whole script to life.
So let's put it all together. You've got the planets, you've got the houses, and you've got this incredible cosmic timeline. What does that give you? What you get is a deeply sophisticated language, a way of decoding your own potential and the story of your life.
When you really look at it, the Brihad Parashar Hora Shastra isn't just a random collection of spiritual ideas. It is a complete, systematic framework. You've got the grahas, the planets, as your characters. You've got the bhavas, the houses, as the different stages. And you've got the yogas and dashas, which give you the plot and the timeline. It's an ancient, coherent system for making sense of it all.
But, and this is so important, you have to think of this not as a rigid prediction of your fate, not like you're stuck in a cage. It's much more like a map of your potential. It shows you the terrain of your life, where the smooth roads are, where the mountains might be. It highlights your natural strengths and the challenges you're likely to face. It gives you a language to understand the game.
And that really leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? Is life just a predetermined script that we're all forced to act out? Or is this ancient text something else entirely? A powerful language designed to help us better understand the incredible, complex, and unique story that each and every one of us is living?